When Terry's back in town. When Terry's back in town.
Till he kissed me and said, baby, please go all the way. It feels so right being with you here tonight. Please go all the way. Just hold me close. Don't ever say what I wanted to say when he whispered I love you, so please go all the way. It feels so right being with you here tonight. Please go all the way. Just hold me close. Don't ever let me go. Notice I'm wearing red. The entertainers are using red light bulbs and wearing red to bring attention to the need to bring Las Vegas entertainment back. So wear red, get a red light bulb. We may be all out of stock here in Vegas, not just for the entertainers, if you get my drift. And he said, come on, honey, need you. Come on, I need you. I love you. I need you. Please go all the way. It feels so right being with you here tonight. Please go all the way. Just hold me close. Don't ever let me go. Oh no. Can anyone guess who the lead singer of this group was? The group is the Raspberries. Don't run away, yeah. It was Eric Carmen, for those of you who didn't know. And now we're going to get on with the show.
This is Terri Haley with the Sugar Shack, and I want to introduce you to my two very dear friends. First off, Michelle, who is an awesome tarot reader, and she's joining us from the Midwest or Southwest. I'm not going to disclose your exact location. And also my other dear friend and soul sister, Miss Valerie Melotti, our Vegas Reiki healer. Hi, ladies.
Right. Hello.
Mwah, sugars.
Mwah.
Mwah. So we have a very special topic today, but before we proceed, I'm going to let each of these beautiful ladies introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their projects and their life, starting with Michelle.
Hi. I just do tarot cards. You know, I've been a tarot reader for about 20 years, and I just started reading publicly about the last 4 years. My primary mission in life is to help people work through their spirituality and their blocks and help them on their path.
Excellent. And now, Miss Valerie Melotti.
Hello, I'm Valerie Melotti, and I'm a Reiki master, and I'm now infusing Reiki into my transformative musicals that spread the message of inclusion, acceptance, self-love, and healing. I'm currently working on a children's musical. It's for children of all abilities, and it includes puppets!
I
Meet
love it.
Blueford!
What's his name again?
Blueford.
And what's the name of the musical?
The musical is called Again Again.
Again and again. We'll have to talk more about that in a little bit. So, gang, we have a very special episode here for you today. It is Labor Day weekend. So first off, happy Labor Day, everybody. I hope you have a great time. Be safe, especially be safe. But it is also the end of the summer, coming into the change of the season. We just got over that full moon in Pisces, and now, those full moons kind of get you, howling at the moon, if not other things. We're going to discuss chakras, one in specific, the sacral chakra.
Ooh.
And ladies, I brought some.
One of the best ones.
Yeah, the best chakra of them all, right? I brought a little present.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, no, I can't take that out. They'll pull my video. Wait,
Oh, goodness.
no, these
Oh,
are supposed to
wow.
be in there. I'm so sorry. Do you see, the sacral chakra is about the sex chakra. Aren't they pretty? No.
They actually are very cute. Yeah, I like those.
I'm really revealing a lot about myself tonight. I have this.
Okay, go Terry.
Very nice.
Okay.
Some soft leather. And then, oh yeah, I can't take that out. They'll pull my video. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm done showing it. There's my present.
I love
Notice
it.
I have it in a gift box like this, so nobody will touch it if I ever have any
I
visitors
see,
or
yeah.
whatever. So, okay, I'm going to, I don't know much about the chakra itself. I did print up some notes.
Okay.
It is the sex chakra, the sacral chakra, correct, guys?
Yes, it's one of the many parts of the sacral, yes. But
Okay.
Valerie, you are a Reiki healer, so I'll let you take the lead on that. But it's
Well,
one layer of many of the sacral.
Indeed, indeed. And one element also of it being the sexual chakra is that it's about creativity, literally
Yes.
creating life. So opposed to the blue chakra, the communication chakra, which is creativity on the more artistic level.
Right,
Although
right.
I would say that my children are my greatest art form. And
You
heart
really
form.
did some creating there, didn't you, girl?
4 times.
And on that note, yeah, I was reading up on that, and I was surprised it's not just about sexuality. And the color is, there's different, I think I read orange and more
Yes.
light blue.
Orange.
Orange. Okay. So talking about the sexual chakra, see, I did some meditation with the full moon. Hold on a second, because Zoom is
Okay.
sending me messages here in the middle of our Zoom.
I know, I had to just delete that one. Okay.
Okay, I'm still recording. And I don't have my reading glasses with me. It says the sacral chakra meaning, the meaning of a blocked, stagnant, or weak chakra is that you are struggling with one of the functions of that chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So I know mine is, well, I think I did some unblocking during the full moon. I did some.
Well, the Pisces full moon was all about change, so that's a perfect time for you to do unblocking.
Yeah.
Because that's about changing things for the year coming, right? So you did good.
Valerie, how would you suggest unblocking a chakra? And don't say go out and have sex, because that's the obvious answer.
No, I would go within more than that.
Right.
So you would do more self-care rituals. You could take a nice soft salt bath, Epsom salt, baking soda, even table salt, and you could add essential oils. I would especially add citrus, since that's orange typically,
Right.
and also very uplifting. So those would be some of the things I would do. The howling at the moon and being under the full moon, you could charge your crystals, if you have crystals or other beautiful stones.
Absolutely.
You can use certain stones that are more charged with sacral energy. So
Right.
I would choose, again, it's going to be a lot of the ones that are orange. So, and you can eat more oranges and things that are orange, carrots, sweet
Mm-hmm.
potatoes, all of those would also augment your sacral chakra and get it flowing.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. Like I was telling Michelle the other night that I did some serious manifestation. I was by myself. I have been working out like a crazy person the last couple of weeks, like more than usual. And just the other night, I just sat and just let the energy, the full moon energy, just soak in. And I may have gotten a little carried away, but
Well,
it
I
is
think
what it is.
any kind of thing that you can do to move your hips also will unblock your sacral, such as Kegels or belly dancing. Anything that gets your hips moving, that
Right.
also can unblock your sacral. Also, moonstone is a good thing for sacral because it's a feminine energy. And the moonstone is helpful for balancing out feminine energies. So just as a side note.
No, that's interesting. I did read about the movement of the hips because the sacral chakra happens to be just above the pelvic bone.
Right.
If I read correctly. Is that right, Val?
Correct.
Okay. And again, it's not just about sexuality, but I think, like Valerie said, creativity, and there were a few others, change being one. I don't know. I printed up these notes, and it's so silly how they kind of overlapped. So if anybody can add to that, it's now
Any healthy relationship to anything, developing healthy relationships to all things is also part of the sacral.
right.
Which I think women sometimes, society teaches us sometimes not to have healthy relationships to things, but that's also part of the sacral.
Now, what do you mean society? Go ahead, Val. I'm sorry.
Add to what Michelle was saying, having healthy boundaries is a good way of enforcing your sacral chakra and being in tune with it, recognizing where it is that you're letting people in too much and have too much control, and where it is that you have the ability to say, okay, this needs to be my sacred space.
Yes.
Right. Speaking of healthy alternatives, sorry.
Cheers.
Cheers. Valerie, where's yours? And there we go. Cheers. Okay, so now also I'm reading that talking about signs of physical imbalance in the sacral chakra, lower back or hip pain being one, PCDS, menstrual difficulties. Sorry, guys, for any guys out there that may be watching. Some guys are just so uncomfortable with that topic. Sexual dysfunction and bladder or kidney infections.
Right.
That's interesting, and it's all in that area. If you think
actually, impotence for the man and frigidity for the woman is also an issue of a blocked sacral. So the men, with their delicate idea of those things, impotence is also a sign of a blocked sacral chakra. So.
Okay, now it says how a blocked sacral chakra can manifest into the outer world. Loss of interest in life. Wow. Codependency in relationships. Addictions to things such as stimulants or shopping or food. Wow. Hypersensitivity or the instability to navigate energies. So if you have a chakra that's out of balance, it really takes a huge effect on your, not just your inner environment, but your outside environment. Have any of you kind of like experienced that?
As having a blocked chakra?
Yeah, just any blocked chakra in general.
Yeah, I think we all have. I mean, we all have blocks. I think society helps us in that endeavor in blocking our chakras, especially for women in the sacral, because we come into society thinking that we're supposed to be a specific way and our sexuality is supposed to be a specific way and we're supposed to act a specific way. And I think all of those, all of that templating sort of acts as a block for us because we're not able to, be free in who we are.
Right.
So I think that has a great deal of effect on our sacral. So I'm saying as a collective, women always, I think, are experiencing some form of block of their sacral.
Right. And it's about, and Valerie, what about you? Have you experienced, I mean, because this does say the effects of a blocked sacral chakra causes these kinds of negative effects.
I mean, at times I've had to work through and get it. Could be sluggish, and there are ways that you can make sure that your chakras are balanced and that they're moving in the right direction.
That it's funny that Michelle mentioned that women have certain, what's the word for it, expectation or persona or whatever, that something is, how do I can't talk, is expected of us as women. My grandmother and if my cousins are watching, my younger cousins, they're going to be shocked because my grandmother and I had many, many, many personal conversations as I entered womanhood and my, getting married and stuff. And she said the number one rule, that this is what she felt anyway, for a woman and her man, or another woman, depending. No, we're gender neutral here, okay? But the number one rule, and this isn't going to be very ladylike, she would slap me for giving away the secret, was to be a lady in public and a whore in bed. And just to be comfortable with yourself and uninhibited. And the person that you can be uninhibited with, that you feel that comfort zone with, where you could just whatever without going into details, then you pretty much hit the jackpot.
Yeah, I think you're talking about being able to be your authentic true self and being open to feeling sexual desire and love with your partner.
Right.
Women, we're taught that we have to be a certain way, and so sometimes that inhibits our enjoyment in sex. Sometimes it inhibits our performance in sex also because we are templated with ideas that we grew up learning. But I think when you're comfortable with your partner and you're able to be free and authentic, to your core, I think that's very important. Yeah, so the jackpot, exactly.
Exactly. What do you think, Val?
Yeah, I think that I've always thought that the sacral chakra and the throat chakra have a lot of similarities. So you've got the heart chakra, right, which joins the ones that are above the heart, like the throat and the third eye and your crown chakra, and the ones that are below. And so they sort of mirror each other. So the throat and the sacral chakra are very connected. So one is how you communicate, more through your voice, through your art, and one is more grounded. It's how you communicate through your being, your confidence, the way you present yourself to the universe. Or in a relationship, whether that's a romantic relationship with a partner or it's a relationship with your family or friends, it's all very significant in how it comes through. And the sacral chakra has a lot to do with that. It has a huge influence. And along with sex, you have sexuality, and it's not like, it's kind of what you were describing, Terri. It's not just like, do I prefer men or women, or do I care? But it's about, how do I express myself? How do I communicate myself as a sexual being, as a person of the universe that, we were put on this planet to procreate, really. Otherwise there would be no humans. So
yes,
it's a natural way for us to express ourselves.
Absolutely. It's funny. I'm just curious. I made a few notes because I have so much to learn. No, I don't. Come on.
No, we all learn. We're all
How
learning.
long do you ladies think? How long before you're considered celibate? I'm asking for a friend. I need to know. It's just a need to know basis. How long before you're considered celibate? Anybody, any idea?
I wouldn't even go there. To me, you either are or you aren't. I don't think it's about a matter of time or space. It's just you are or you aren't.
But that's a curious question, though, because you have virginity, which there's no getting that back. But then you have celibacy. So how long, really, would it be considered? And surely that's got to affect the chakra also. Or look out to the next guy that comes along, man. Talking about letting the floodgates open, like, woo, baby. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, Grandma, I'm going to be a lady. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think it just depends on what state your spirit's in and what state your mental health's in. You know what I mean? In order to determine whether or not you should be celibate or not.
Right. Well,
Um,
again, asking for a friend, it's not deliberate. Okay. It wasn't planned. But okay, Valerie, what's your opinion on that?
Just what I
Stop
said.
laughing at me.
You either are or you aren't. I don't think that it matters any length of time.
right.
Okay, because I thought there would be a period of time to be considered that. But surely, I mean, it would affect that chakra, don't you think?
I think so. I think the length of time determines what you have going on mentally and spiritually.
Right.
And let's say, for example, you're celibate for 3 years. Okay, you may be healing. You may be learning how to balance those chakras. You may be healing that area. You may have had bad relationship. What happened?
Cry.
Like, for example, I'm a Scorpio, so 3 years is kind of like you might as well lock up the door and throw away the key. But for other,
Damn. No.
for other people, it just depends on their sexuality, their pattern. I'm trying to think of a word to say how sexual they are. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I meant. Look out to the next guy.
There's really
It's
not a cookie cutter time frame, I don't think.
right. What do you think, Val? As far as it has to affect it.
Well, definitely. But there's a lot of ways to express ourselves as sexual beings that aren't even involving sex directly. Some of the things that Michelle mentioned earlier, like moving your hips and dancing and belly dancing and getting out under the moon and howling at it, all of these are still very animalistic kind of sexual energies and ways of us expressing ourselves that doesn't involve, an orgasm. I don't think that the sacral chakra is really so connected. I mean, it's connected to that, but it's not just about that. There's so much more that goes into it that surrounds the health of the chakra.
Right.
So having sex or not, as long as you are expressing yourself in a healthy sexual manner and feeling comfortable and confident in your skin, that chakra is still going to be moving and balanced and beautiful. Sex is not a requirement for that.
Right.
And it's not. It's more about creativity than it is anything else, and expression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only mistake I made with the dancing around outside and howling at the moon was I forgot to put my clothes on. So my neighbors were giving me strange looks. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But I did have an experience the night of the full moon. Like I said, I did some meditation and manifestation, and it was clearly just solely completely unexpected, where when you girl, you better stop laughing at me. Valerie, I see you laughing at me.
No.
And it wasn't
Laughing at a
planned.
friend.
What's that?
I'm just
Ask for a
laughing
friend.
Sorry, I had to let one out on that one.
That's all right. No, but what I'm saying, when I meditated and was manifesting, it wasn't a planned meditation, because you go deep into your inner being. You connect with whatever outer energies you connect with, and things just happened.
Absolutely. I mean, let's talk about our ancestors, I think that's a common thing. It's just become sort of a mum situation in our modern day, but people used to dance around in the moonlight a lot naked and to connect with the earth and Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a taboo thing in our modern age.
Dancing in the moonlight.
Everybody. Yeah.
Feeling all right. Anyway.
That's a good one. And that's also what you're doing right now is also freeing up your chakra and balancing your chakra and your throat chakra, your sacral and your throat.
What do you mean? The creativity part?
Moving and singing.
Yeah.
Artistically expressing yourself. So.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, and there's also the creation we give birth.
Things haven't been the same since you came into my life. You found a way to touch my soul, and I'm never, ever, ever gonna let it go. Happiness lies in your own hand. It took me much too long to understand how it could be till you share your secret with me. Something's coming over. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. Give me back the paradise that I thought I lost for good. You helped me find the reasons why. It took me by surprise that you understood. You knew all along what I never wanted to say, until I learned to love myself. I was never ever loving anybody else. Happiness lies in your own hand. It took me much too long to understand how it could be until you shared your secret with me. Something's coming over. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. Something's coming over. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. Happiness lies in your own hand. It took me much too long to understand how this could be until you shared your secret with me. Something's coming over. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. Oh, something's coming over me. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. My baby's got a secret. I know he's got a secret. My baby's got a secret for me.
Yeah, and there's also the creation. We give birth to ideas. We give birth to our projects. There's a lot of ways that we're expressing our sacral energy that really isn't sexual in any way.
Right.
So it's fun to talk about sex, but you
Let's
know.
talk about sex, baby. No, but Valerie, as Valerie knows, Valerie's doing her new project with the puppets and the musical, and I discussed, which I'm not going to go into detail here because I don't want anybody to steal the idea, but I've discussed a new project with Valerie also on my end that has to do with hopefully some friends that have any experience in theater, and that's all I'm going to say. But it is going to be a paying project when things start to get a little more back to normal, God forbid when that is. But also, I think this pandemic, this whole shutdown and putting a pause on things, a lot of people became more creative during this time because there was nothing else to do. You know, and I think that opened a lot of the sacral. And at the sacral, like Valerie said, is connected to the throat chakra for those who are singers or entertainers. And I mean, a lot of people are not aware and they're not taking advantage of the energies that the universe is providing them. It's not just the sake. How many chakras are there, would you think? I looked it up once. Let me see. Do either? I know, Valerie, you do Reiki, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you know.
Well, chakras aren't really involved in Reiki, but I do know a little bit about chakras. And there are 7 main chakras.
Okay.
And they're colors, coincidentally, of the rainbow. So you can just GBIV to remind yourself of them. And they start at the base, which is red, and that's your survival. That's your grounding chakra that keeps you, connected to the earth and to reality, to what's really going on. And then it goes from there until you get to the crown, and that's the violet chakra. That's your connection to the universe. So that's
Right.
One is going to be the roots, and the other one is going to be how you expand. One grounds you and keeps you connected, and the rest is about moving out of yourself. So, and then the heart really joins. So if you think of everything above the heart is sort of the more ethereal chakras, and everything below it are the more earthy, physical type chakras. And the heart joins the two so that you stay in balance. Usually people who are suicidal or have followed through and committed suicide are having such a hard time connecting the chakras above the heart. So they really can't live in this plane. They can't live here on earth because they can't connect. So and it's the heart chakra, then in that case, that's usually blocked. That needs to crack open and say, okay, I can now connect from here up and here down.
When you do your Reiki, I mean, have you ever, because I know you do Reiki to give someone calmness or to help heal a pain, a joint pain, or have you ever done a chakra Reiki to heal a chakra?
So yeah, I add stones that are for the chakras, but that's separate from Reiki, but I've done it during Reiki sessions, absolutely, and it's very powerful. Reiki heals the mind, body, and spirit. Whatever it is that needs to be healed in any of those fields will be accessed through the Reiki. And then the chakra healing that I do with the stones, it goes directly to each chakra to balance them, open them, and have them moving. And you can actually visualize your chakra and having it moving, and you want ideally for it to go clockwise. And you can just picture and you can move that energy. You could use your hand and move that energy and picture that chakra almost like a wheel of energy. And they're located in alignment to your spine. So, and you can visualize it. You can use stones, you can use foods and beverages, you can, but you can, it's as simple as just visualizing.
Yes.
I see my chakra moving. I see it in alignment. I see it balanced. You know, and if you can picture that, you'll feel it. It'll happen, and it'll be very powerful. And then whatever it is that's happening in that area, that's manifesting itself as something, and it maybe in the form of an illness or.
Now, I was just going to ask. You said 7 chakras, so we have the heart, the throat. Obviously, the sacral. Is that how? Am I even pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Sacral, that's 3.
Yeah. So we'll start at the red one, which is the base chakra. That's at the very, very base of your spine, kind of your tailbone.
Okay.
You can picture it there, or you can also picture it going from kind of between your legs down to the ground and earth, grounding yourself. A really powerful thing to do is to picture yourself grounding all the way to the core of Mother Earth.
Right.
And as far as you ground down, then you can expand up. So from the base chakra, then we go up to the sacral chakra, which is located, like Terri described, right underneath your belly button in your pelvic region, and it embodies those organs that are right there, your uterus and bladder. And then you go to the solar plexus chakra, which is yellow, and that's your point of power. That's also where your diaphragm is. That's where your breath control is.
Okay.
It's a very powerful chakra. And then the heart chakra, which we talked about, of course, that's your ability for love. The heart chakra does have 2 colors. It has green and it also has pink. So you can picture another thing you could picture in your visualization is a light, like filling yourself up with red light or with orange light or yellow, whichever one you want.
Absolutely, yeah. Or breathing it in, yeah.
Yeah. And then after your heart chakra, you go to the throat chakra. and the third eye, which is indigo, and then your crown chakra. And if anybody's into EFT, one of the things that they do is tapping, and you could tap those areas, and that will stimulate the meridians that are involved in those chakras as well. There's so much that we can do to balance our chakras and to stay in alignment. And yeah, it's exciting.
And then there's activating chakras, like Michelle and I were talking a little while ago when we first started talking. Now my dog is going off. When we first started talking, we were talking about having activated a root chakra between twin flame energy. Okay, so the root chakra, that is the one at the base of the back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Base of the spine, yeah.
The spine.
It's the tailbone. You think of it as like the tailbone.
Right.
Okay. Now, another thing about chakras, let's suppose somebody's ill and they're having issues with throat or spine, or is there a way to activate or do something with the chakras in order for like a holistic healing or an energy healing instead of, well, of course, medicinal and doctors and whatnot. But obviously, if they're having issues like health issues in certain areas, then that's blockage in a chakra.
Absolutely, yeah. And all of the things that we were mentioning will have a great effect, a very healing effect. There are herbs you can use that correspond to the chakras and the ailments that will come up. There are meridians that you can stimulate through acupuncture or acupressure or massage. There's, like we had said before, foods, beverages, physical activities that can stimulate certain areas. There's visualization.
Right.
There are stones. You could wear certain stones that correspond to that chakra. So there's really, there's also sounds. So there are certain hums,
Right.
Hear,
Okay.
yeah, with chanting and stuff like that. A lot of them are corresponding to the sounds of the chakras.
And I'm sure you could find like a ton of different chakra meditations if you're having an issue with a health problem or just blockage. I'm sure there's probably thousands of videos on YouTube that you can use to unblock these chakras.
And I think on a spiritual level, there's also a lot of actions that you can do. For example, with your throat chakra, that's being able to speak your truth and also receive truth. So I think listening and speaking what your truth is also a way to keep your throat chakra unblocked or uninhibited in a way. You have to learn to receive information and also give information in an appropriate way.
And I think
there's actions that you can do to help keep those unblocked and in balance as well.
Yeah, and Terry, another thing, being a musician as you are, if you think about it, the chakras are also corresponding to the notes, of an octave. So there are 7 notes because the octave then repeats the first note. So each one corresponds to a chakra. So you can, there's many different types of healings using singing bowls, using crystal bowls.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Using tuning forks. Those are other ways that you can heal, and they bring you right to that chakra. So.
That's fascinating. I'm glad you said that. I had no idea, but I always found, unless I'm just not in that frame of mind that day, but after I'm finished practicing or singing, the mood just all over. It's a feeling of accomplishment. It's a feeling of balance. It's a feeling of peace. It's a feeling, I noticed I did a song last week. I was very nervous about doing original music. And I did 2 songs last week. And the first song, once I finished the first song, I kind of stood there and just, at the end, without even realizing it, but I kept it in there because I thought I could sense it just watching it, the sense that balance at the end of the song as opposed to the beginning. But I get what you're saying about the 7 notes. I never thought of that. That's really fascinating.
What you just tapped into is so true also. Breath work is a huge way that we can heal our body, every cell in our body, and also balance the chakras. So you can picture your breath going to different places and really direct it and bring it, to those places and open things up. And then there's there's the 7 main chakras, and then there's kind of like, you can also picture a white light that's over you and that envelops you, and that's your connection to the universe beyond your your particular connection as a person. You have a connection to the universe, but you also have the collective consciousness connection. And so you can picture that. And as we all know, white light, once it goes through a prism, it splits into the rainbow. And so there you have all of the chakras. So
yes,
they're a wonderful way to harness the chakras and support them.
Right. Well, I learned that at a very young age, in my 20s, being inexperienced, naive, sowing my wild oats, whatever you want to call it. When you're, as women, and men the same thing, when you're going through things in life and you go through heartbreak and whatnot. And I'm very spiritual and was brought up Catholic, like big time, brought up Catholic. Anyway, I'm not saying anything bad about Catholic.
Oh no, Southern Baptist here, almost a Catholic. I can totally understand.
But a very strong, grounded Catholic family, and with that kind of pounded into my head, you had certain rules that you had to follow, and this didn't go in balance with chakras. So I had to learn, because rules and structure, and it was just too. So I had to learn on my own. That white light, exactly as you said, Val, I learned in my early 20s when my son Mark was probably about 3 or 4 years old, to envision. And of course, I connected God to that, because I'm a firm believer in God, not just the universe and the energies. I believe all of that is entailed. I would picture his arms. And I know this is going to sound silly, but whenever I picture God, I picture an illumination, a being of illumination, and his arms just engulfed and wrapped around me, embracing me in this soft white light, protecting me and helping me to be open to the world and humanity and kindness. And at 23, 24 years old, this was like, mind-boggling. And then to have that throughout life, it's gotten me through many difficult times. That white light, I'm so glad you brought that up, because as you know, Valerie, I just recently went through something that I had to reconnect with that ambiance, with that energy, to get through it and become a better person in the end. So everything I think is really connected, one chakra to another, like head bones connect to the neck bone. Well, no, you know what I mean. It's I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're doing this segment, because there could be people out there now, especially during this pandemic, so many people having a problem with the isolation, having a fear of going out, the quiet, and then there's couples, there's so much domestic violence going on. There's women out there that probably need to hear this today, that this might help. So I'm really glad. So it's not just a sexual thing. We're having fun. It is a lighthearted family show. That's why I didn't pull out the other toy. And I'll just throw it away.
But that's also part of the sacral.
It's got wings.
Part of the sacral is also being comfortable with your sexuality. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly part of it. I'm just curious, about the palm chakras. One of the
and feel free to look up,
the minor chakras. If you use that a lot in your practice, I would imagine that you do.
Oh, I've seen her do Reiki, and she doesn't touch you. It's the energy.
I do hands-on Reiki.
Right. It's an energy
but
body.
I do distance Reiki, or if people prefer not to be touched, that the touch doesn't matter per se, but hands-on I think is the best. I prefer that personally.
Right.
All of your nerve endings end in your hands and in your feet. So these are the most incredible places of power that we have, really.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. But Reiki itself, I follow the Usui method of Reiki, which is the traditional line, and they don't talk about chakras at all, even though everything is connected. So when I'm working in a certain area, yes, it is balancing that chakra, because I'm balancing that energy that corresponds to that. But Reiki does not talk about chakras at all. That's not part of Reiki. But definitely, the hands and the feet are great places to activate in our lives. And starting on your day and spending a little extra time on your feet, maybe when you're in the shower or in the bath, or when you first wake up and your feet are going to hit the ground.
Now, I remember you once.
Tennis ball, roll your feet out, stimulate. What's that?
You froze. So you said when your feet hit the ground, you froze for a second.
Oh, I was just saying that first thing in the morning when your feet hit the ground, that's a great opportunity to stimulate all of those nerve endings that are in your feet. So grab a tennis ball, roll out your feet, spend a little time massaging them, grab an essential oil, put it on that sole of your foot. When I'm in the shower or the bath, I always make sure to spend a little extra time. The nerve endings, you know, are such powerful places to connect. And if anybody's ever had a pinched nerve, you know what a power a nerve has. I have sciatica at times, and man, when that nerve gets pinched, that pain goes from my base chakra all the way down through my feet, and it follows that meridian. So everything is connected.
Right.
We're connected to the universe. And so if you think about it, our body is like a universe in and of itself. We've got
Absolutely, 100%.
System, there's there's traffic, there's blockages. You could have a traffic jam, you could have a car accident inside yourself, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I remember you telling me when I first moved here, I kept having the pain in my feet. Remember, I would had problems walking. There was this pain, and you said the base of your feet, the pain in your feet, are connected to your.
That mimics your spine as well. Yeah, and so if you think about in reflexology, your big toe is your head, you know, and then this would be your cervical spine, and then you come down the foot, and at where your
The center of the base of the foot.
There's what's that?
I think it was the center of the base of the foot, and you said it was connected to the past. That's what I'm referring to.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember telling me that? We must have been.
You were channeling, Valerie. You were channeling. That's why you don't remember.
We were channeling, all right.
I don't actually know reflexology or anything. So, but
oh, you bugger!
But there's also was it on your left side?
Yes.
Yeah, so the left is your past and the right is your future. And so that's another thing that you can think about when, like, my sciatica is always on the right side, and it's actually like in my emotional body, what's usually going on is either I'm afraid about my abilities, you know, writing musicals. I'm like, oh my God, am I good enough? Are people gonna like it? Is it relatable? Or not feeling supported, you know, literally you could think of it as not having a leg to stand on.
Right.
But reflexology, it's if you just look at your foot, you can get in touch with how it mimics the spine, and you're all the way up to the top of your head. And so you can stimulate, if you want to stimulate that crown chakra, go ahead and just tap the tip of your big toe, and that's going to do it. You're going to feel it. Very good, Terri.
What's that? That's a coordination exercise, right?
I think that's a DUI checkpoint. For a special coronavirus DUI checkpoint. When you go from the bedroom to the living room, you have to prove that you can rub your belly and tap your head at the same time, huh?
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought I was activating my crown chakra and my sacral chakra at the same time. I don't know.
Go for it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to try that belly dancing thing. You know what? Hula hoops would be great for that.
That's really good.
Yeah, they are actually. Yeah, good for the sacral.
And great exercise too. Okay, so Valerie, I'm going to let you and Michelle take the screen. Michelle, you tell Valerie what she needs to do as far as focus or whatever. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy. This is Valerie's tarot reading by Michelle.
We'll do
you
it.
Also need her birthday or anything, Michelle?
No. She's asking a general question about how her musical is going to go. How can she be more of service to humanity through her musicals? And how we can be more inclusive of people with autism, and how society can include them more in daily life. That's kind of what I think she's asking. Is that what you're asking?
Exactly, yes.
I think, Valerie, here this started out sort of as a small commitment for you, and it kind of grew into a larger commitment, a lifestyle commitment for a while. And there were times I think you felt like you weren't making any progress, right? You were kind of holding this jug of creativity and love for what the subject matter was, but you weren't sure how to move it forward from here to the world. And there were a lot of times that you really had to concentrate on, number one, probably turning down other opportunities. In addition to that, you kind of had to marry what was inside and what the world views as what you're trying to say, the interpretation of it. So there were a lot of times, you spent a lot of time just kind of mulling over the foundation of your creation. And you knew that nothing really was going to compare. You wanted to make sure that you got exactly the message forth that you wanted. It took a lot of time and a lot of thinking in order to get that. So, in other words, you had to be extremely committed to the process. That's what I'm seeing. I think this is going to be a beautiful relationship. Okay, this is going to strengthen families. This is going to build futures for people. You're going into relationship areas, especially for this type of thing with the autism. You have to have a relationship. Others are a window, I think, to the world for them. And so I think part of what you're doing is learning how to segue the individual to the tribe. Mm-hmm. For help and for growth and learning. You're doing a beautiful job of it.
Thank you.
Let's see, this is going to be very good opportunities. I think initially this may be a little bit confusing, or it was a little bit confusing. I think that you were looking at opportunities, but you were seeing a lot of domino effects. So one thing opens 12 things. Mm-hmm. Right? And so you kind of had to learn to break those down into smaller pieces. But once you figured that out, once you figured that out, then you were able to celebrate what you were starting to create. It was starting to come together. So it's going to be a smash. It's going to be a smash. Yeah, it's going to be great. I think the most important part of this is you understanding how to build relationships, like a lifeline, right? For those who can't speak for themselves, it's a window for them to view the world, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that's so interesting about as this project began, it was inspired by my daughter who just turned 4, and when a friend of ours came to our recording studio, and he's nonverbal autistic, and she basically taught him to sing, and it was a beautiful experience, and yes. It was wonderful to see how she just embraced him as he is. She didn't wonder, why isn't he talking or interacting in the way that I do. She just saw him exactly as he was and embraced that, and it was beautiful. And then an interesting thing happened where I thought, I don't write songs. I wrote the song titles. My husband's a composer. He does lyrics, but I wanted somebody to join my tribe who is a lyricist, and I found that person, and we had so much in common. We both had 4 kids, all these things. She's in Sweden, and her youngest son is also nonverbal autistic. So there are these things that keep happening where I'm like, I'm in alignment. I can see that, because I in a way I have that like imposter syndrome. Like, wait a minute, I don't have a nonverbal autistic child, 100%. But I want to express for them what it's like. And I did Reiki and taught piano, and I had students who were on the spectrum, and I used Reiki to help whatever they needed, so it was a lot of times just calming those impulse control issues and things like that. So I've always had a love and compassion for children of all abilities, not just on the autism spectrum, but of any other ability. And so it's an amazing opportunity now to share this message, and I keep getting like signs from the universe, because there's rainbows in the show is about a play date that occurs on Rainbow Street. So it's funny that rainbows appear now everywhere for me, and including when we're talking about the chakras.
Beautiful. that's your sign from the universe that you're on the right track, you know. And I think the more exposure, and back to autism, I think the more exposure people have to it, to understanding what it is, the more they will be able to understand and help and aid and make it not such a scary, isolating thing. I know my middle son has, he's on the line between autism and Asperger's.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just considered high functioning autistic.
Mm-hmm.
So you really do not have a lot of exposure that you think that you would have. So I think the more people bring attention to it, the better people can understand what it is that they can do to help and aid and support.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about autism awareness, but we need to take it to the next level, because
Yes.
autism now is being diagnosed in 1 in 68 kids.
Yes.
So we need to get to the point where we're accepting, we're including, and what I'm seeing is that the in the medium of film and television, it's starting to open up a little bit, but they keep showing very high functioning autism.
They
And
really
so-
do. They focus on that because it's acceptable, it's understandable. It's something they can take in and understand. You're right. They do focus on that.
Now, I was listening in on your reading, Valerie, and that lifeline thing and connecting relationships, where one connection evolves into 12 more. And from our conversations, that's exactly what's happening.
Indeed.
Yeah. And there was a time when autistic children or adults, whatever the case was, back in the Victorian times, even long before that, were discarded of. So we've come truly a long way. And I think this is going to take us into the next realm, up to a higher level of understanding. And I think it's fabulous. Now, do you have a voice for your puppet?
No, I haven't picked the actor yet for him. I'm not the puppeteer.
You're not the puppet. Well, he's beautiful. And Tina, congratulations. I understand you've been helping Mommy a lot with this new musical.
I would also like to plug, this came from the Las Vegas Puppet Theater, which is located at the Boulevard Mall, and you can make your very own puppet like this, and it's very similar to a Muppet. You control him by your hand for his mouth. Now remember, I am not the puppeteer. I don't know.
Super cute.
But you
beautiful.
also have these wonderful sticks, so he can give
Hey,
hugs.
sugars.
Nice. Yeah.
You get
For all
sugars?
of you.
So,
Very
okay.
sweet.
So,
Terri,
Oh, wow.
I think you need a puppet boyfriend so that everybody will leave you alone. Stop trying to fix you up. Stop accusing
There you
you of
go.
having boyfriends.
they keep trying to set me up. They want me
I
to
think-
do like, hey,
I
you know
think
what I
you
said
can
about,
know-
excuse me, Tina, cover Tina's ears, okay? COVID dating means trash bag, condom, trash bag, and another condom, okay?
Oh,
I don't want to, that's too
Yeah.
much work for me.
Not to mention
really
the gloves
is.
and the mask.
Not to mention what?
The gloves and the mask.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God.
And the
Well,
face shield.
There's no
Yeah.
fun with if you have a
How
mask
romantic.
on. Connect to that story is because I got myself into a situation where I had to work all the time to make ends meet. I didn't sing for 10 years until Valerie and Joey.
Oh, wow.
And that's and and the whole story with meeting Valerie, for those who are interested, you may not be, a Fanalo, and I'm going to mention her name, she'll get a kick out of this, Jackie Evans, came to me and said, oh, you got to connect with Dreamspell Studios. You got to go there and record. Now, I lived 15 minutes outside of Philly. And I said, why would I send my music to someone in Vegas to record? There's recording studios. I'm 2 hours from New York City. I can find recording studios everywhere. Why would I go clear across the country? She says, trust me, you're going to want to do this. So I sent my music to Dreamspell Studios, and she connected me, had Valerie invite me to the Dreamspell page, and I believe it was March of that year, I got a phone call from Joey, and he was in London at the time. I believe he was in London, and he says, well, we'll set something up Memorial Day weekend, and come on out. And by then, I said to Jackie, I said, what the hell? I said, I sent my music. She said, good. She says, don't kill me. I said, okay, why would I kill you? She says, because he works with Barry Manilow. I could have killed her.
Oh, wow.
I could have killed her because I would have
No
never,
pressure.
she knew I wouldn't have sent my music if I knew that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
Well,
then
good.
Valerie invited me to the Dream Spell Studio page on Facebook, and we got to talking on the phone sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a lot of fun. And then I get to Vegas. First time I ever flew out of my own time zone, ever. And I'm already in my 40s at this point. And I get to Vegas, and I emailed Joey. I'm at the hotel. I'm here. At the time, it was the Hilton. And he told me the next day, he offered to pick me up. He told me the next day, it was funny because Val came into the room and said, did she chicken out? And I sure as hell didn't. And he took me to the house. I met Valerie and the kids. And I was so nervous because you never know about people who are working with celebrities and whatnot. You never know what their status or stature or personality is going to be like. So I was like, got to be on my best behavior. Got to behave. I get in there and her kids are dancing on this video game dance mat. Val's in a maxi dress. She's a must, and Joey's a must. And I'm just like, this is awesome. They were so down to earth and friendly people, and we hit it up right off. And Joey and I spent 32 hours in the studio that weekend. And then just before I was going to go home, Val says, well, this is your first time to Vegas. I got to take you to a show. So what was it, Rock Vault or Rock of Ages?
It was Raiding the Rock Vault.
Raiding the Rock Vault. And we went, and it's now, what's that, hon?
I just said it's an excellent show.
It is. And we sat at the bar afterwards, and she told me that's where Barry used to have his show. And then he came back to Vegas in the time. So we had a blast. We went to the Dispensary Lounge, and she ordered a big girl's drink and said, no, Terry, you don't want that. I said, I'll have what she's having. And the waitress thought we knew each other from high school. We hit it off so well. And she kept me up right until the time I had to catch my shuttle. Joey's messaging her, hey, she's got to catch a flight. What are you guys doing? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I catch my shuttle. I get on the plane, and my eyes began to sting. I had tears in my eyes. I didn't want to leave. And I don't feel like my only purpose here is music. I feel like there is more, like the connections I'm making, the friends I'm making, the extended family. Barbara Brighton the other day said, Terry, I don't know what I would have done without you. And I said, if I wasn't here, I'm sure somebody would have stepped up to the plate. And I know out of all the beautiful friends we have, somebody would have. But I feel like there's something deeper here waiting for me. I just haven't figured it out yet. But I owe it to Joey and Valerie. That's our story. Oh, and the other thing, when I got home and I told my husband.
That's
At the time he's my husband, I told him I'm going to Vegas with or without you.
Love it.
And Valerie, when I told her, I said, well, first I wanted to move to California. She talked me out of that.
Oh, yeah.
She says, guess what? The house next door is for rent. Come, won't you be my neighbor? Yes. And
how nice. Yeah.
Awesome friendships, awesome people. The Melottis are just so down to earth, so friendly, so lighthearted, spiritual, caring, nurturing people. And I feel blessed. I feel blessed that this was in my path, and I'm glad I didn't ignore it.
Thank you for all of your kind words, Terry. I love you.
I love you too. So that's it for this weekend Sugar Shack. But stay tuned. We have one more song, and you will see the links to get in touch with Valerie and Michelle. Michelle, if you want a tarot reading. Valerie for her information on her musical and any Reiki healing. Am I saying that right? Reiki healing that you want. Ladies, give everybody a big sugars. Mwah! Sugars. Bye.
Thanks, Terry. Bye.
I heard that you're on your own now. So am I. Living alone now. I was wrong. So are you. What will you do? Are you glad to be free? Feeling lost too much space now, and the nights go so slow. I'm sure you know. Wish I knew what to do. Would be so nice seeing you, and it might help you to understand. Know where I am. Come around, talk a while. I need your smile. You need a shoulder of sand. Know where I am, and the door is open wide. Come on inside, longing to see you. Oh, Sam, Sam, you know where I am. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us this week. I'll see you next Saturday, same time, same Facebook page. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Sugars.